What is up, guys? Private Eye Russ here. Welcome to another episode of the Private Eye Russ Show. I am your host, Private Eye Russ, owner, operator, full-service private investigation and consulting firm, corporate theft investigations, litigation support investigations, criminal defense investigation, pre-marital background checks, personal one-on-one development, personal development coaching, life coaching. If you need my help, hit me up at russ@privateeruss.com. That's RUSS at privateeruss.com, or you can send me a direct message on X at privateeruss. While you're here, please like, subscribe, share the videos, hit up the comment section, go crazy. I'm not censoring anybody unless YouTube makes me, obviously, because it's their platform. So I've learned you've got to play by their rules no matter what, or you're in trouble. Not necessarily YouTube, but I got suspended on X, which was kind of ridiculous because I don't curse at anybody. I didn't threaten anybody. I give out a lot of advice for men and for women, mostly for men, to make sure men are armed with knowledge and how to deal with women day to day. That's one of my specialties. I'm a licensed private investigator. I've had some people speculate whether I was really a licensed investigator, and I had to send a few people just a copy of my license. Like, look, yeah, this is what I do for a living. I own a private investigation firm right here in Florida. I actually got some more licenses on the way from different states as well too. But whether you need an investigator in Florida or not, or outside the state of Florida, I have a network of private eyes, and I quarterback cases all over the country as well as internationally. So anyway, let's get into this. So this one is a little bit of a sensitive story and more of a cautionary tale. I do have some experience with dealing with people that engage in this type of behavior, both on the female side and on the vendor side and on the client side, I guess you could say. And so there's a lot of things you need to be aware of, especially young women. It's all about the whole Dubai getting flown out, to different exotic locations for pay. And so we're going to go into this story. This is about a woman, Ukrainian woman that wound up going through an ordeal. So let's go ahead and play this. Fair use. And I'll be pausing during the video as well as give some of my takeaways and safety tips as usual and some cautions as well. So fair use. All right.
A shocking incident has come to light involving a Ukrainian model who was reportedly found brutally injured and left fighting for her life in Dubai. The 21-year-old woman, Maria Kovalchuk, well known online and previously nicknamed the port-a-potty party model, has been at the center of intense speculation and confusion over the circumstances that led to her devastating injuries earlier last year. Maria's nightmare began when she vanished during a trip to Dubai, only to be discovered days later in a coma by a roadside. When she was finally located, her family reported that she had suffered horrific head wounds, including scars across her forehead and scalp, believed to have been inflicted with a knife. Medical imagery released after the incident reportedly showed a deep, long scar running from her forehead to the crown of her head, indicating her scalp had been forcibly cut. The attack left her with a broken spine, mutilated limbs, and extensive facial scarring. Doctors found her with multiple fractures and significant tissue damage, leaving one of her legs paralyzed following extensive reconstruction.
Okay. Pretty bad so far. Like really, really bad so far. However, all right, so the experience I have is this. After Desert Storm, Desert Shield, I did spend some time in the Middle East, North Africa, even Pakistan, South America, working on private security details. So, and those are on the more dangerous end of things, but I've also done some executive protection details as well while I was living over there. Very lucrative pay. And I would hear stories about guys. This is way back in the days before social media became a really big thing. It was around, but it wasn't really a big thing yet. I mean, there was a couple of things around, but not much. And so we'd hear stories about what these guys would, we're talking about wealthy, elite Middle Eastern, North African men who have a gazillion dollars. And so back then, what they would do is they would recruit women from like the different airlines, the stewardesses, because most of the women that worked for them were from Eastern, Western Europe, Russia, some parts of Asia as well too, as well as the like the Philippines, Thailand, even some women from China as well too. But they particularly liked the Eastern and Western European women. So when women get flown out there, and this wasn't they didn't get flown out then because they were usually in country, but they would contract modeling agencies, and they would have women fly out there for a weekend or a week. And here's the thing about this that women don't understand. They just see the dollar sign. Say, for instance, you get flown out and you spend a week doing whatever they tell you to do, and you get paid $50,000. The psychological and possible physical damage you're going to have to deal with, and the emotional baggage you're going to collect after that is not worth it. Okay, and so women that do this stuff, and you run this risk. See, so here's one of the reasons why people get flown to these countries. All right, you're getting flown out there by very, very wealthy guys. You're on their home turf. So as soon as you fly in, what they'll do is they'll grab your passport and any of your ID and all your stuff. So you're not going anywhere. So they own you. Number three, they have an immense amount of influence, especially if they're a royal. Forget it. They can literally do whatever they want. I'll give you a good example of a negative interaction I had with a royal over in the Middle East. Won't say what country, and it wasn't even through any malfeasance on my part. And so I'm driving. Was dating a flight attendant at the time. I had a rental car. We're driving, so I don't remember exactly where it was. But this guy was drunk, ran a red light, and T-boned us. Now, she wound up with a neck brace later on, and so had to go to traffic court because there was a lot of damage. The rental car company was ticked off at me. They wanted me to pay out of pocket. I was like, no, I don't think so. And so I'm thinking from just the standpoint of fairness. Okay, I didn't do anything wrong. I got T-boned. He was drunk, ran a red light, was speeding, and crushed me. It was a 500 Mercedes, and this dude was driving like a bat out of hell, and we get smacked. I saw him coming, and I was like, oh, shoot, we're going to get hit. It wasn't a big deal. I was okay, but my passenger, the woman I was dating at the time, she was really tensed up, and, she got hurt. So we go to court. I actually had an attorney, a guy named Hamza, and we go to court. I don't get to say anything. The judge rules in this other guy's favor, and I had to pay for his Mercedes as well as for my rental car. And so I wound up having to pay for that stuff for a few months. Actually, I got a loan from a buddy of mine, but I had to pay him back. And so when the judge was done, I'm outside, I'm talking to Hamza. I was like, what the hell was that? He said, look, at the end of the day, you don't live here. This is not your country. If you weren't here, the accident wouldn't have happened. And this guy was a sheikh, one of the sheikhs, one of the royal family members. He wasn't one of the heavy hitters, but he was still one of the royal family members. You're always going to lose that encounter. You're always going to lose. You're on their home turf. You lose automatically by default. And so for the women that are going over there, if I hire a woman here to do something similar and I treat her badly or I do something dastardly or harm her in some way, she's got recourse. She can call the police, and I'll get locked up and I'll get canceled and all the rest of this stuff. Over there, you don't have that option. You don't have that option over there. And it sounds like whoever she was engaged with got angry with her. And when you're dealing with royals, especially Middle Eastern royals, it's unlike any other thing dealing with any other people on the face of the earth. So imagine someone is raised in a state where they have everything they want. They can do anything they want. No one ever corrects them. No one's ever going to tell them no. And now all of a sudden they hired you to come over there and you're saying no, or you're giving them any kind of attitude. It's not going to work out in your favor. So you got to be really, really careful when you're dealing with them. I've worked for royals here stateside. A couple of the guys I did executive protection for over there, they weren't royals, but they were extremely well-to-do people. And still, you've got to be super, super careful. Anyway, fair use. It sounds like she got battered really badly.
reconstruction surgeries. Maria's mother, Anna, has provided startling details about her daughter's ordeal, claiming that the wounds could not have been accidental. According to her, hospital staff confirmed that Maria's hair had been cut off before admission, suggesting this was done by her attackers, not as a medical necessity. Anna believes Maria was scalped deliberately as part of an assault that left her physically and psychologically traumatized. Adding to the confusion, reports initially circulated linking Maria's injuries to so-called port-a-potty parties involving wealthy elites in the region. However, Maria and her family have denied these claims, instead asserting that Russian nationals whom she met at a luxury hotel party were involved in her abuse. Two of these Russians have since come forward, denying any involvement while confirming that they were present at the party but played no part in her subsequent injuries. Dubai police, meanwhile, reportedly considered the possibility that Maria may have attempted suicide, investigating whether she had jumped from a building. However, a neurosurgeon who examined Maria stated that the pattern and extent of her injuries were inconsistent with a fall. Instead, the expert suggested that the damage was more in line with brutal beatings and potentially being struck or thrown from a vehicle. Anna described additional injuries, including tearing under Maria's arms and a shattered collarbone, which doctors associated with being dragged, further undermining the initial suicide theory. The situation remains shrouded in mystery as conflicting stories and a lack of accountability have compounded the family's distress. Crucially, it emerged that Dubai authorities covered the significant medical costs associated with Maria's treatment, a move her family sees as an attempt to control publicity or contain the fallout amid growing international attention. Following multiple operations, Maria is now residing in Norway under her mother's care, relearning to walk and coping with the aftermath of the alleged abuse. Despite her ongoing recovery, no individuals have been charged or brought to justice for the assault.
And they won't be. All right, so she's lucky to be alive. All right, first and foremost, she is lucky to be alive. Shout out to her. Hopefully, we'll pray for her to have a speedy recovery. So women look at the money and they don't think about the possible consequences. What I always advise people to do is this: before embarking on any sort of risky undertaking or any big or significant undertaking, always consider, what is the worst case scenario? What's the worst that can happen, and am I willing to live with the worst that can happen? All right, and then temper your, or make your judgment or make your decision based on that with one of the defining factors. A lot of women will look at that and they'll think about what they can buy with this stuff. Young women, they want all the bling, the bags, and all the rest of the stuff, the shoes, all the trappings of luxury this and luxury that. Okay, I get it. Well, I mean, I don't really get it. I think a lot of that stuff is a waste of money, but whatever. I guess I understand. But when you go over there, your job is to perform and do what they want. And if you displease them and you get the wrong guy or the wrong group of guys, your life could be in jeopardy. Now, like I said, I've worked over there a bunch, private security details, executive protection. Back in the day, I used to speak fluent Arabic. Now my Arabic it's gone, because it's been so many, it's been decades since I've spoken Arabic. So there were rumors about guys, and these were guys, because guys on the circuit, guys that are doing protection work, we always compare notes, we talk to each other. And there were some guys that were known for being particularly violent with women. And they would pay them extra for this violent behavior, but there were also rumors years ago of guys making women disappear. And so there are guys out there that can and will make you disappear. And so you've got to be super, super careful. Even though this is 2025, you wouldn't think this stuff could happen. Well, guess what? There are still parts of the world where people can actually make that happen. Here, stateside, it's not so easy. It can happen, but it's not so easy. But over there, where they have the advantage, you can be gone in a moment. And so one of the things I would see, the guy I work for, maybe I'll tell some stories about that, he would make what I call the indecent proposals. So he got a kick out of approaching married couples, if the woman was attractive, and then talking to the man and the wife, husband and the wife, and saying, hey, how much for me to spend time having fun bedroom activity with your wife? And, he had so much money that he would start at, say, $50,000 for a week and then just go up from there until people would just say, okay. Obviously, those marriages probably ended after that. I know one in particular definitely ended. But, at the end of the day, that's what they agreed to. Now, he wasn't like a maniac where he would injure anybody. He just got a kick out of that. And then he would actually wine them, dine them, take them places. He would actually treat them well. He wouldn't treat them poorly. But I heard the exact opposite. And man, oh man, there was a rumor. There was a rumor. All right. Again, rumor. This was hearsay that one woman got paid by a guy and decided she wanted to give the money back. And so he was so ticked off, he had her sold, excuse me, he had her sold to a brothel. And one of these third world country brothel that you probably won't survive. And so that was his revenge. So women need to take that into account before they go and do these things, before they embark on these things. You could be walking into an absolute nightmare. And it's not just girls this happens to. This sort of thing happens to boys as well. So it's not just young ladies, also young boys, where this happens to as well too. I remember when I was in the military, we had one dude that got gang raped by a bunch of dudes on a pier. He was jogging. Apparently, he was a really small dude, and they took advantage of him. So things like this can happen. When you travel overseas, don't think that everything is the way it is over here. You go to the most countries, most people are going to be cool. Even in the Middle East, you go to most of these guys are going to be cool, but there's a small pocket of guys that don't look at you like a human being. You're property for that amount of time that they have you there, and they're going to treat you in some of the most awful and just degrading ways possible that you won't even want to tell your psychiatrist about it because it's going to be so nasty. You'll get your money. They'll pay you, but man, oh man, you're going to earn it. So anyway, it's your boy Private Eye Russ with a cautionary tale. Be careful. Doing the port-a-potty thing, the Dubai port-a-potty thing, that's a meme for a reason. It's a very dangerous undertaking, as this young lady, even though she probably doesn't feel like it, she is actually lucky to be alive today to speak of the to speak of the ordeal she had. And they paid her medical bills. Probably somebody said, hey, you know what, you need to make good on her medical bills because of this and that. And so they were probably guilted into that, or they're trying to make it go away, I'm sure, which I don't blame them. This is a bad scene. This is a bad situation. You don't want somebody from a Western country or Eastern European country flying over there and then being dumped on the side of the road after being beaten and stabbed and who knows what else she went through. I read other reports that indicated that she had also been forcibly copulated with. Okay, so forced fun bedroom activity. We don't want to say the actual word because social media doesn't like these words, right? So, sad situation. I'm sure at some point, if the media coverage continues after she makes a recovery, someone will probably visit her and offer her a certain amount of cash to let the story die down. And I've seen that happen as well too. So anyway, it's your boy Private Eye Russ. Please, before you go, please hit like, subscribe, share. As you guys can see, I'm making an effort to put out videos every single day because I'm fighting for you guys. I'm trying to spit some of this knowledge I've acquired over the years, analysis. And one of these days, what I might do, if you guys want, I might do an online interview with someone who thinks their significant other might be cheating on them, and I will advise them. And I'll do a live right here on a YouTube live. Maybe here on YouTube, maybe on X, probably here on YouTube. I'm kind of pulling back from X more and more because the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. I don't really post anything that's risque. You'll go through your X feed and there's people harming animals, people deleting each other. There's adult material on there that you're not even looking for, but it shows up in your feed. But my stuff giving men advice, I've gotten suspended almost half a dozen times already. It's ridiculous. So I'm tired of fighting with that site. So I'll post stuff every now and then, but I'm not going to post every day like I used to. I'll check on there every day. So if you need to message me, you can, and everything will be linked in the description below as well too. So thank you so much. Bless every single one of you who've liked, subscribed, shared. Please comment as well too, and let me know what you guys think about the idea about the live real-time analysis. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. This is your boy Private Eye Russ. I am out.